This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, in the previous session, we have discussed what is Apex, okay, and the architecture of Apex, and that session link also I have shared with you. Okay, so today we will see how we are going to write the Apex and what are the tools we are using. Okay, nothing but today we are going to learn one new language completely, which we call Apex. We will learn what is this Apex and how we can write Apex program in Salesforce. Okay, so see, if you see your past experience, you have learned many languages, maybe, or maybe you are completely new. You may learn C, C++, or maybe Java or some language. Forget this technical language. If you see the language, so when you learn a new language, maybe you learn a French, or maybe when you learn English, or when you learn your mother tongue. Okay, so nothing but same way we will learn this new language also. It may be technical, non-technical. To learn any language, first we should learn what is that language and how you can make a sentence. So if I talk when I learn English, okay, nothing but we from the day one we didn't start to speak in English. Okay, so to complete the sentence like I'm a good boy, I need this sentence. If I can speak this sentence, that means I know English language, correct? So to make this sentence, I need few words like maybe this good or boy, whatever the word. We need few words. Okay, so first we should know how to make these words. Nothing but I can say before we learn this, first we learn okay how to create the words. Okay, like maybe a good, maybe a boy. We learn that kind of thing. And once we know this one, that means what? When I'm making the words, nothing but before to that I learn how to write the alphabets. So same way we are going to learn this Apex. Okay, so before learning the Apex programming, before going to write a complete Apex program, so we should know a lot of syntax. Okay, so how that syntax will build to make a complete sentence, and with that complete sentence we will make a method or class. Nothing but if I know this sentence I am a good boy, like that I can combine many sentences to make a paragraph, and many paragraph can make one chapter, or many chapter can make one book. So same way I'm going to do. What we learn first? We learn first what is alphabet. Then we learn first how to make the word from the alphabets. Then we learn from the word how to build the sentence. Okay, from that sentence we learn how to make one paragraph. Okay, from the paragraph, then we got to know how to make a chapter. That chapter of thing about we learn how to make a complete book. Correct? If you see in technically, first we'll learn all the syntax. From the syntax, okay, we'll make declaration of some variable or something. Okay, nothing but once we build the syntax, so slowly combining all syntax, we can build the sentence, one complete sentence. All the combination of sentence. Okay, to make the sentence syntax, we need some programmatical languages. Okay, and once we make the sentence, nothing but from the complete sentence we can make a method or we can make a class. Okay, from that class we can make a small project. Correct? So in that way we go. So first we need to know what are the syntax available here and how I can do it. Okay, as I said, Apex is nothing but it's completely object-oriented programming language. First of all, so Apex is nothing but a strongly typed object-oriented programming language. Okay, when I said object-oriented programming language, what it means? So nothing but the language which supports inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, all these things we call that's object-oriented language. Everything we are going to represent as an object. So let me show you here. So to learn the Apex, what I need to do? So first I need to learn how to declare variables. So I'm just summarizing all these basic concepts. Okay, how to declare the variables. Okay, what are type of variables we can declare. Okay, and using that variables, then what kind of logic you can write. Okay, and what are the variables available for us in the system. So first thing, before learning Apex, we'll learn what is data types and variables. Okay, so I'm just starting from the basic level of programming. You may be some knowledge of programming you may have or you may not have. Irrespective of all these things, I'm starting from the basic level. If you feel you know these things, then we can skip also. Okay. So first we're going to learn what is data type and variable in Salesforce. Okay. So now when I'm going to write this class or maybe one line of code where I will write in Salesforce. Let me go to here. In the Salesforce, if you come here, so as I said, we have something called developer console. Nothing but which we call anonymous window. Okay, I can write any piece of code and I'm not going to save this piece of code anywhere in the server. If you remember the first session, okay, whenever I'm writing something and I click on the save, what happened? So that piece of code goes to my metadata server. Okay, but right now the code what I'm going to write here, I'm not going to save it. So without giving any name, with this anonymous code, I can execute something. If you want to execute in the anonymous code, we can do from this anonymous window, or from this developer console you can go to file, you can create any new class, and we have something called trigger page, and also you can open any existing thing. So right now we're not focusing on this part. Okay, I will write everything in the anonymous window and I'll show you. The same way, even we have inline editor here. Okay, if I want to write in a new class, I can come here, I can use this Apex class. Okay, where I can click new. Same way, I can use any third-party tools also. Maybe this Asset.io, maybe Eclipse, Sublime, anything you can use. Okay, here also I can use this editor, okay, or IDE to write my codes. Okay, irrespective of this thing. So I just shown you the different places where I can write the piece of code. But to write that piece of code, we should learn it first. So first we're going to learn what is data type and variable. When I'm saying what is data type and variable, if you remember, anytime you have created a field, so as you know the Salesforce admin stuff, you have created fields in object, correct? When you create a field, what we do first? We define what type of data it's going to save. Maybe text, pick list, or checkbox, currency, any type. So first we define the field type, nothing but which we call data type. Okay. So in Salesforce, we have different type of data type provided. Okay. Some data types already provided by Salesforce, and even we can create our own data types. Okay. We will see all the data types whatever we have right now. Okay. So now, so let's see. I want to store roll number of a student. Okay, when I'm saying roll number, maybe roll number will be in this format, something like that. Okay, that time it looks like some number, and whenever I'm saying I want to store student name, so that time it may be like this as is. Okay, so it is nothing but looks like a text. Okay, whenever I want to say, okay, Assis is working or not, it may be answer comes with yes or no. So this kind of data we have. So to store this 1 2 3 4 5 6 number, nothing but where I'll store. Let if I say, okay, I declare one variable which I say roll number, okay, equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6. So what is this roll number, and in memory where I'm storing? So when I'm saying a program, nothing but something is being stored in my memory. Memory in the sense my program memory. It may be heap memory or stack memory. So if in that case, if you see, let me clear this. Okay, if I clear this, so we have something called heap memory. If I go to heap memory, the moment I said I want to store one data, nothing but one name. So somewhere in the memory I want to store. Let's see, I kept this memory I created, and here I stored Assis. The moment I stored Assis, so now this is my memory. But whenever I am writing some program, let's see, here I have something where I am writing the programs. Okay, so here something I have where I am writing the programs. Okay, now how I will refer this one, how I will refer this memory. Okay, so from this program to refer this memory location, I have to give some name first of all. Nothing but consider I gave the name as name. Okay, I said name. So when I say name, so this name is going to store what value? If you see, okay, I said name is a variable where I store the access. But what is this name? Okay, so the name variable, what name I gave for this memory location. Okay, let's see, the name is name. Okay, so what type of data can store? Okay, I said store access. So if somebody may come, can store, okay, 50%. So it's not a valid data. So what kind of data to be stored here? That we represent as a data type. So whenever we declare a variable, what we do? This is a syntax for us. Okay, data type, my variable name. Okay, my variable name, and this is the optional part. Optionally I can assign some initial value also. Okay, then every statement ends with a semicolon. So now if I want to store a name, so I know name nothing but looks like a string. Okay, string student name, okay, equal to, let's see, I made it as is. So as is a text, I kept like this. So if you see this line, it is nothing but one statement in my program. Okay, this statement, what statement? This is a statement of assigning a value to a variable. So whenever you declare a variable, we have to specify data type and variable name. So this same way, Salesforce has provided different type of data type to us. Okay, so we call something called primitive types. Let me type here something called primitive types. Okay, and we have something called S object. I'll explain each line by line. Okay, and something we have called collection type. Okay, so now these are the different types of data types Salesforce given. Okay, so whenever I'm saying primitive types, what types are there? So primitive types comes with, like you have heard about integer, string, same way different types of data we have. We start with blob. Okay, whenever you have a large object data to store, that time you can use blob type of data. Okay, nothing but your image or maybe a big text you want to store. That time, say binary large object file when you want to store, that time you can use blob type. Same way, if you want to use true or false value, that time can use boolean. Okay, same way you can use date. Okay, date time, like that many data types we have. I'm just listing out everything. Slowly when you write programs, you will use this. Okay, decimal, okay, double. So we have integer. Okay, so we have long. We have object is one type. I'll explain what is object type. So in the Salesforce, whenever you see a object like a position or candidate, maybe account, maybe contact, opportunity, each are represented as object. Object nothing but the master type of all objects. Okay, it may be account object, but it's represent as an object. Okay, so same way, let me write string and the date time. Also we have a time type data. These are the primitive type of data provided by Salesforce. Okay, when I come to S object, nothing but any object in Salesforce will represent as a S object, which we can call it maybe account, maybe contact, or maybe any custom object. All custom object represent with custom object name. Okay, object name underscore underscore C. Okay, so all these objects are nothing but can be represented as a S object. Okay, and when I say collection type, these are nothing but three type of collection provided by Salesforce, which we call list, set, and map. Okay, so these are different type of data type given by the Salesforce, and we will see each one how we are going to do. Okay, till now any confusion?
No.
Assist the, yeah, perfect. Okay, so now see, if you write any program at any moment, so you have to store some data to process the logic. Let's see, I will say, okay, get me list of account records, okay, where account rating is hot, and after getting that record, process XYZ logic. When you get that record, you have to store somewhere. You have to store in some variable. Okay, that variable nothing but declare. We have to define the type of that. So whenever you need that, first you define what type of data you want to store, then variable name, and this. If you want to store string data type, then string variable name and this one. Okay. So a subject I will tell you in the end of this data type classes. So let's see what is this collection type. Okay, as I said, I want to store names. Okay, so I mention string student name equal to, let's see, Ashish. Okay, so same way I want to store another student name, so I made it as string student name 1. Okay, so I made another variable name string student name 2 equal to, let's see, Sri. So like this I have 50 students. So is this looks good if I create 50 variables separately like this, 3, 4, 5, 6 and different names? It not sounds good. So every variable consumes some memory in my heap memory. So for each variable, if you go, it will create one small memory space for me. Okay, like this, if I give 50 memory space, it's not good. Okay, so what we do here, instead of this approach, if you see this Ashish 3, okay, then some other name I'm just typing here. Okay, this is my another student name. Sorry, let me fix it. Okay, this is my another student name. So if you see all these names, these are the different students. Okay, but if you see these are same type of data I'm going to store. That's nothing but, can I say this highlighted text nothing but collection of the students, collection of student names. Okay, so whenever you have this kind of collections to store, instead of storing in each individually, we use list or map or set. Nothing but, if you know any other programming language, you have heard about array. Okay, same kind of thing I'm doing here. Okay, so instead of array, I'm right now using list or set or map. These all are different type of collection in Salesforce. Okay, we'll see what we can do on this part. Okay, any collection type of data, any collection data you want to store, you can use it. Like the example I have told here, if this is a collection of student names, instead of storing in multiple variables, I can store in one variables. Okay, so what is that? Any collection variable. Now it depends, it's a list type collection or set or map, what we want. Okay, so before to go any list at map, let me store this in the list collection and I will show what is that and how we do. Okay, so now if you declare this variable like this in memory, it created like this memory, like this which individual memory space. But if I store in collection, what will happen? In the collection, if you see, it will create exactly one memory for us. Okay, so instead of each individually, it will create only one memory. Okay, let's, the name of this memory we gave as student name list. Okay, so now on each part, okay, so it will, for each name one block will generate. Okay, so all the students can be referred only with one name and we can access them individually. Okay, so this is nothing but a list type of collection. So when I'm saying list type of collection, we'll see in Salesforce how we can define this list collection and what we can do with list collection in Salesforce. Any confusion?
No.
Okay, now I'm going to the what is list in Salesforce and how we are going to use. Okay, when I'm saying list, it is nothing but, it's a type of collection in Salesforce. Okay, what type of collection it will see. So it keeps same type of data, nothing but I can say homogeneous type of data. Okay, otherwise if string means all should be string, I cannot keep, okay, with this string I cannot keep one call as integer student roll number, it cannot be. So whatever the data you want to store, it should be with the same format, okay, maybe same type. So same type of homogeneous collection element can be stored in like the way you enter data into the list, in that way it will be there. So see, if I say, let me explain with example. If I say I have roll number 2256, I have roll number 859, I have roll number 45, I have roll number 269. So the data what you see, this is one set. If same data also I can represent in different way. Okay, 45, then I shown 256, then I have shown you 269, then I have shown you 859. If you see these two data, what is the difference? So this set of data, if you see, it is sorted order. Okay, but this data, if you see, it is not sorted, but it is the way we enter the data, it is stored in that way. Correct? So if you see this way, what happened here? List is a collection of elements of the order we entered, not the sorted order. Okay, the way you entered, which element you entered first, that is going to be stored in the first index. The next element is going to be the second index. Then third element is going to the next index. In that way, the moment you entered, it is going to capture the next index. So now, if it's an integer type of thing, first element sit here, then second element here, then third element here. Okay, if it is not list, if it is something some like set, then what will happen? It will automatically sort the elements, which elements should store first and which not. Okay. But when you say list element, it is the collection of elements the way we entered. Okay, and it should be the same type. So how we can create list in Salesforce? Okay, when you say we are going to create a list in Salesforce, nothing but if somebody says create one variable which is going to store student name, what we did string, nothing but my data type, then my variable name, nothing but like student name. Okay, this much. Then if need, I can assign some value here. Let's see, I'm assigning 3 here. So now if you see, if somebody say create a list collection, nothing but you have to use a list data type, list collection name, keyword, and with that this list is going to contain what type of data, what type of collection. It is going to contain string type of collection, or it is going to contain integer type of collection. So what type of data going to store this list? Then what is the data type of this list? We have to specify here. Then specify the list name. Okay, you did do this one, then allocate some memory, new list of data type. This is a syntax to create any list collection. Nothing but list, my data type name, my collection name, then allocate some memory with using new keyword. The moment you do this one, for example, if I want to declare an integer type of list, what do you do here? List type integer. Okay, let's see. Let I'm writing integer list. What will happen here? New list of integer. Okay, you see this much. If you see this list, integer list, new list of integer, the moment you write this, automatically in system what will happen? So it will let me delete something from here. Okay, I'm just deleting this columns so that I'll explain that list how it is going to store right now in front of us. Okay, so now what will happen? The moment we declare this, so it is creating one list, just this much, nothing else. And the name what we have given here, integer list, this is going to be the name of the list. So for this list, the name is going to be, let me type here, integer list. Okay, so now we allocate some memory. As you see in this heap memory, we just specify some space to my integer list. Okay, now how I'll store the data to it? Okay, I specify if anybody want to create a collection of the list of the integer type, we'll use this one. If anybody want to create a collection of string type, then nothing but same way, list of string. Okay, Then my list name, nothing but I am writing the string list, or let's see, I'll give proper name, student name list. Then I just specify a new list of string. Okay, if I wrote this one, nothing but same way, again creating a collection of memory with name as the student name list. So how then I can manipulate with this list? So there are different methods provided by Salesforce to work on that. Okay, I'm just listing out all the methods. So first thing, once I have the list element, I want to add this collection value, whatever I have. I just mentioned this 45 to 56 to 69. Okay, so this value what I entered, I want to store in that list. So how I'll store here? Okay, I want to store all these values. How I'll store? So that means I want to add 256 the element to my list, integer list. I want to add 859 to my list and 45 to my list. So there are some predefined method given by Salesforce. We'll discuss about that methods. List methods. Okay, what is list methods? So see, I have one method which we call add method. I'll explain each method one by one. I have another method which is called add all. So if you want to add element to the list, you can use these two methods. Let me do this programmatically. Okay, I'm just going to create a list collection in my anonymous window. Okay, I just create a list, type integer. I just gave name as integer list. Let me make it a little big so that it will be visible. So new list of integer. Okay, and if you want to print any message, normally we use system.debug. Okay, in the system.debug, what you do, whatever message you want to print, you can print. Okay, I want to print this integer list value, what is we have now. If you see now, I have allocated some memory, correct? New list of integer. If I click on execute, let me show you. I just click on execute. Okay, so if you write anything in developer console and you want to process that, if you want to process the logic what you write, or you want to execute it, just simply command execute it. If you want to execute a specific lines, okay, just highlight or select that line and click on execute highlight. You can see here. And once you execute, Salesforce in backend generates a log. How much time this line process, how much memory it takes, everything. And if you want to open that log immediately after execution, just click this one, open log. Okay, now I want to open the log and want to execute. The moment I click on execute, so I send the request to server to process it. And once it's processed, it generates my log file. See, it's very good to understand this log. If in real time when you work with program a lot of things, so there are a lot of issue comes and you have debug to find out the root cause of the problem. To debug, this is very important thing. I'll have completed one session to how to debug the program, how to debug the issue. Okay, if you see the execution start by this user at this time. Okay, the user invoice there, then see read this execution started. So which code started? From the execution, first I'm starting the code, nothing but my anonymous window, which I clicked execute. This we call anonymous window. We are starting this anonymous window. If you see, then see, first we do, what we do, we came at line number 2, I have a user debug. So nothing but my debug statements I have kept here, line number 2, that I'm printing. If you see the line number 2 debug list, there is nothing, it's empty value. See, I have nothing because my list contains 0, nothing. Okay, so that kind of thing happened. Then what are the resource we used, everything print here, and we completed the execution. So now I'm going to write the data one by one here. First I said I have one method which we call add. Okay, we can add one element. Let's see what we can do. I want to add integer in this list. I want to add the element which we call this. Let's see, 269. Okay, so after adding, let's see, this is the message I wrote before add my what is the list value. Once I add, what is going to be integer list. So what data I have in my integer list. Okay, I specify after add what is my integer list. Now right now I'm going to execute it. So I declare my integer here, my list collection. then I add one specific element using this. The moment I click execute, we will see what happening. So if you see, I came here. Now in this place, you can see my integer list contains 269. Correct? So one by one, I'm going to add the elements. So whenever I say add elements, so what is the syntax of this add? It is nothing but here you can specify what element value you want to add. Okay. So this element value should be same type what we define. If it is string, if we are going to add the string element, then pass the string value. If integer element, then pass the integer value. Nothing but how it's going to happen. Let me explain that. It is going to happen my list name dot add, okay, then element value. Okay, we are going to add like that. Okay, so like this I can add many values. Let's see how at 269 right now I'm going to add another value which I call 29. Same way I'm going to add one more value which I call 569. Same way I'm going to add one more value which I call 49. See, my first element 269, then 29, then 569, then 49. Now execute it. The way we entered the value, the same way the data will be stored. See, 269, 29, 569, 49. Same way data stored. Any confusion on the add elements?
No.
So, feeling bored or out of the discussion, anything, you can tell me freely. So, the first two classes.
Actually. No, actually, it's useful. Yeah.
Perfect. So, first two classes will be more on this data type. This is.
Yeah.
So, slowly, when you learn the in core concepts, you'll get more ideas. Okay. So, bear with me for first 2 days. Okay. So, where I'll declare this integer, list, collection. These are the basic things. Like you're learning the alphabets right now. If you don't know the alphabets, you cannot make the sentence. To make the sentence, you need the alphabets. Same way to write a good program, these are the basic concepts which we need to understand. And the main important concept you will see: list, collection, list, map, and set. Very important things. Let me show you. This is my text box. I'll have very few classes here. Let me show you one class. Okay, see. If I open this apply discount some dummy class. Okay. So let me go to a good class. So let me open a class where also we will see there is no program where you will not see the collection use. If you see there is a program where there is no collection, then it's not the way we write the program. These are just simple framework codes. See, one day we are going to write this kind of program, and I'll explain how we are going to write. Okay. See, the moment we came, all these conditions, data types, query, everything we're going to write. Okay. And now you understood in the list we have something called add method, which add element. So like this, consider I have two collections. Okay. I'm just copying the completely code. Okay. Same way how integer list I have, I'm going to add integer list 2. Okay. For example, so I need this integer list 2 should have some elements which are same as integer list, nothing but 269, 29, 569, 49, and also I want to add some extra element, nothing but let's 78 dot add 89. So if you print this integer list 2 again, what data I have now? See, in integer list 2 I don't have anything. Let me execute it. I'll explain why I'm adding the 2 times for one basic concept here. See, the moment I come, see, I'm not explaining this completely. I'm just showing the debug lines now. See, first when you go here, click on this debug only. It will show the debug statements only, which we have written. This system.debug. Okay. To see that, we just click on this debug only. See the debug before add integer list 1. We have this one. This till this point we understood. Now we create integer list 2. In the integer list 2, we added all elements of integer 1 and new elements 78 and 89. So for that, what we did, we just written these 5 lines or 4 lines repeatedly, which we have already, and this collection we have already. So nothing but just think example. Okay, you have a student list, okay, who regularly comes to the college and who goes to library. Okay, and to that list there are some other guys also who comes to library regularly. So if you see the two list of students who comes to class regularly and who comes to library regularly. If you see, there are some students who don't come to class but comes to library, and some students who come to class and who comes to library. So the library is nothing but combination of who comes to class plus extra students. Okay, so already you have a list of student names who are coming to class. Okay, and you want that list plus extra name, nothing but same way this list of integers plus extra list. How will I, instead of writing again and again, can I delete this much thing? Can I, there is some way to write this list element directly here? Nothing but can I write adding one list element to another? Is there any method? Yes, we have. If you want to add all elements from one list to another list, there is a method which we call add all. Okay, so that means what you do. So you can use add all method to adding all the elements. So which list you want to add? I want to add the list of elements from where? I want to add list of elements from this integer list to integer list 2. Okay, nothing but syntactically if I'll say nothing but okay, destination list dot add all source list. Okay, this list can be a list or can be a set, any collection, or I can say source collection. Okay, that way you can use add all. Like see the same thing if I execute, you will see the same output, but with using a specific function, a specific method. Correct? So this is nothing but adding a element. So now see, okay, we added 269, 29, 569, 49, 78, 89. But I want to add one element after 269 and before 29. So if you see this element, okay, let me copy this. You see here. So this is nothing but we added this type of elements. Nothing but I can say this is completely one collection. So if this is a collection, this is nothing but index of 0. Let me draw it so for your better understanding. So I added this location represent as 0. This is nothing but represent as 1, 2, 3. All elements represent as one index. Okay, how many elements you have? Okay, -1, you will leave the maximum index size because index starts with 0. So now in this part, if you see the first element is stored as 269. So here nothing but you can see something like 269. Okay, same way second element nothing but I have 29. Okay, so like that maybe I have 569. Okay, I have 49. All the elements I have here. Okay. Now I want between these 269 and 249, I want to add one element. I don't want 29 to be index 1 or 269 to be index 0. Okay, so what we can do here? Okay, when I do that, we have some method. Nothing but we are going to add one element at index 1. Instead of this 29, I want to add one element at index 1. Let's see how we can do it. Same program. If you see, let me take these elements for there. Right now, if you see, my collection have these elements. From this print, if you do, my collection of this element. Now, what I'm going to do, I want to, instead of this 29, I want to add 129. That is my target. What I want, where I have 29, I want 29 should be 129. Okay, so instead of I'm just going to and instead of removing or something to do, I'm going to add another element 129 at this index. This is first element 0 index, second element nothing but index 1. So in that time what I do, I am going to add one element. So I use add method, one element to one particular index. At index 1 I am going to add 129. After I am adding this index, what I do, I'll just print this message to see what is this. Okay, so integer list 2 after adding index 1, we will see what data coming. See, I'm just printing it. If you go here, let me show you the log. I'm clicking on the debug log only. See, now before I had 269, 29, 569. The 129 came to here. Let's see how it data now came. I'm just copying this so that you can see here. Okay. After that, what happened? My data came this way. See, 269 there. So 129. Just we kept 129 at index 1, and all the elements are auto shifted. So if you want particular element to be placed at one index, okay, then you use add method with index and the element value, nothing but this add method what we have, it can be also used as this way. Okay, add index number element value, which we can say nothing but this way, my list name dot add index number and the value what we want to store. Any confusion?
No. Can we have duplicate value as well in the list?
Yes, I was going to there. So now see, I'm going to add on this element like this 29, 569, 49 I have. I want to add once again 29 after 49. Okay, if I do it, I execute it. Okay, so see, there will be a duplicate element added. See, 29 and 29 there. Because why is happening? The list collection is a collection of, and on the way where you enter the value, in that way it will be entered. It is not doing anything in there automatically. So in that time, so when you have this list, let me write a list, create a collection here. Okay, this is a collection for me. Okay, so now if you see, I have entered 129, it's there. Okay, I entered 29, it will be there. I entered 49, it's there. I entered 29, it's next element. I entered 120, it's next element. So what element you enter, no matter, it will be still there. But if this element automatically sorted, what will happen? If this is the same thing I do, okay, I have this collection and I entered 129, okay, it's there. Next time you enter 29. So 29 is not going to be stored here. So what will happen? The system will go and this place will keep the 29, okay, and this place will keep 129. Same way, if you want to keep 129, it will see where to store. Okay, it will check 29 what I'm trying to enter here, it is less than 129, it will try to bring to here. But again it will see the previous element 29 is there, it will try to bring here same value, and this value is not going to add in the list. So if we have this approach, then duplicate not allowed. This type of thing we'll call a set, which are going to talk next collection element. Okay, so list allows duplicate. Got my point?
Yeah.
So now
okay,
you can make a sentence, list is a collection of elements of having duplicate values. Okay, and each value are not sorted by default. Okay, so now see, we added these elements, we do it. I want to make another list of completely same value. I don't want to do anything else, I just want to clone it. Okay, now how I can make a duplicate copy of this same thing? I have this integer list, I want to make a copy of the same list. what I do here, same ways you can do. Okay, whenever you want to clone something, we have one specific method which we call clone. Okay, so let's see, I just wrote one more integer collection, clone list. You can allocate some memory also. If you don't want, you don't need to allocate memory. You don't need to allocate because you are going to refer to the same collection. Okay, so now in this clone, what will happen? We'll just clone the elements. Which element will clone? I have a method which we call clone. Okay, what will clone? We will clone this integer list. Okay, so when you clone, nothing but it will clone all the elements with their memory location to this new collection. Okay, and it should be of the same type. If I want to clone one string type of collection to integer type, it will not allow to me. So all the elements should be same type to be cloned. Okay, nothing but clone makes a duplicate copy of the list. Okay, so when you clone, it is nothing but going to return a list of same elements. Okay, like when you add, it is not returning me anything, it's just adding the element to here. It's return me void. But when you clone, it is nothing but completely cloning the elements. So how we do it here? So this is going to be written this way. So what you want to clone? I want to clone integer list. So that means integer list to be cloned. Okay. If I clone, where will store the duplicate data? I want to store the duplicate data on the clone list. So go here, write like this. So clone list equal to integer list dot clone. If I wrote this, let me print this clone list value. So I go and execute it. So now you see in the debug log, see 2069, this value and this value is same. Let me take this to nearby. See this value. Both the values are same. 269, 29, 569, 49, 29. So in this way we can clone it. When you do clone, nothing but what we do here, to element to clone an element, use destination list equal to source list dot clone. Okay, we have concept of deep clone, shallow clone, which we'll talk in the advanced topics. Okay, right now we talk about clone. Okay, now we have so many elements and I don't want to keep these elements. Okay, I want to clear all the elements from integer list 2. So to clear the elements, what we do, we have a method which we call clear. Okay, so simply if I call integer list dot clear, that means it will remove all the elements from my list. Okay, let me see it's removed or not. So I'm just going to see the debug lines for this integer list 2. After clear, I click execute. Now if you see, I come here, see all elements gone. After clear, I don't have anything here. Integer list 2 is over. See, integer list 2 was some value we had integer list 2. Now the element is completely empty. Integer list 2 empty, but before you see we have some value here. Correct. So that way. So if you want to clear all the elements from the collection, simply we can use clear functions. Any confusion?
No.
No.
Is boring or everything looks easy?
Looks good. Just one question. Can't we
Mhm.
clear a particular number like through the index value?
Okay, I'm coming to there. If
Okay.
you I didn't clear this one. Okay, I want to clear the element this from the list 2 this 129 element. Let me show you the output. So before I had 129, right? I want to remove this element from index 1. Yes, we can do it. We have all kind of functions predefined, nothing to do. So simply I come to integer list 2. Okay, let's say I'm just going to use this again. I didn't clear now. I just commented this line. To comment the lines, you just use the slash here. Integer list 2. There is, I'm not clearing the value. I'm removing the value from the list. I'm clearing the list or removing the value from the list. If removing from where, removing from the index 1. So use this, then print this. Okay, let me print this. After remove from 1. Okay, let me execute. Now see, now 129 gone from my list, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I know, see, there is one method I said you about add at a particular index, correct? Which is nothing but this one. So same way, let's see, after adding, I want to do the same kind of thing, but with another method, which I call set. In this integer list 2, I want to set one element which I call 333 at index 1. We'll see what is happening. Okay, the difference you can see, and what is happening also you can understand. Index 2. Okay, so see, there is a method add and one method we call set. We'll see what happening. Now if you come here, you execute it, you click this. See, this is the element where I have added the element 269, 129, 29. But when I do set, I lost my previous value in index 1. Got my point? See, 269, 333, 29. But before you see 269, 29, 569, the moment I do add at index 1, the element but got added in index 1 and all the elements are shifted. But when I do set, no element is going to be shifted. I am just completely replacing the element from that index. Got difference? So how I have add elements, same way I have some elements. So we discuss about clear. Okay, we discuss about remove from a particular index. Okay, and we discuss set element at particular index with a value which will replace that current index value with this new one. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, same way how do we do set? Okay, how we do remove? I want to see right now. Okay, you can see I have only 5-6 elements. Sometimes dynamically when you get the record from database and store in the list collection, I want to see how many elements stored in my collection. I just brought dynamically some value like this. How many students you have, or how many accounts records stored in this collection? So if you want to see that kind of thing, we have a method which we call size. Let me show you that. Let I write integer total size equal to my integer list 2 dot size. When you call that, it will give me exact number how many elements I have. Okay, I'm just printing this. Nothing but total number of elements stored in this collection. I just do execute. If you see here, the total I have 7 elements. Let me show my typical statements. Total I have 7 elements. Okay, clear?
Yes.
Perfect. So see, by default, list is not sorted. Let's see, I want to sort the elements. What I do here, simply I came here, I just went here, I just wrote integer list dot sort. If I wrote something like this, what happens? Let's see if something can be done now. Let me copy this one. This is the, it will be less to write for me. After sort, let's see, execute it. The moment I execute it, what happened here? See, it's by default not being sorted, but the moment I wrote the sort method, automatically the elements got sorted. But duplicate element will be there if we have any duplicate element. But elements are sorted now. Okay. So now we understood about add one element or add a multiple elements to the same collection, or clear the elements, or clone the one list to another list, or maybe we check the size and set a particular element, remove a particular element, and sorting by default. Correct? So same way, I have this many elements. I just want to check. For example, you want to check, is there any students with name as Ashish? Okay, so we have a collection of student names, and you want to check if there is any students with name as Ashish. If that means that collection of student contains anybody with name Ashish, if you want to check that kind of thing, we have one method which we call contains. Okay, so now let me show you. I'm just writing. See if there is a predefined data types boolean. Okay, check element, some variable name I gave. Let's say I want to see in integer list 2 contains element. Okay, which element? It contains one element, nothing but which I call 49. So if 49 value is there, it will show me the output as true. Correct? Boolean nothing but will return a true or false. I just execute it. See, I have element. See, true is showing me true. That means 49 is the element I have in the list, so showing true. I just put in the same place as 499. So this check element will return me as false. The element, if you want to check a particular element contains in the list or not, we can use the contains keyword. It's false. Correct? The same way you can use get method, set method, and if you want to check if your list is completely empty or not, same way you can use is empty. It will return you the collection is empty or not. For example, if I come here right now, if I'll check boolean is empty list, is empty check. That I want to check this integer list to empty or not. Okay. So now see if I print this collection, sorry, this boolean flag here. So now see if I do is empty check, it is nothing but nothing empty. The moment I clear it, so now if I go and execute it, and if you see, okay, I have a type mistake here. Let me do it boolean. Let execute again. If you see here, let me open it log. See, I will explain this developer console completely, but now we are focusing on the specific part. Now empty, it's not empty, so I'm getting the false. Let's see this integer list 2. I just go and clear the elements. I just made it clear. After clearing, if I want to check this again, okay, we will see what data I'm getting. Execute it. See, before what happened, it was not empty, so first I got false. Okay, is empty check false, then I clear it, then I check, it return me true. So if there is no element in the collection, the is empty will return me true. So there are see, these are methods which you need to remember. Okay, so slowly when you write a program, in for logic we need this. So sometimes it will happen if you are going to update accounts in database, first check whether your collection contains the element or not. If not contains or size is empty, then do not fire any database operations. When you do that kind of check, we will use these methods to. These methods are basic of the Apex programming, which can be used at that moment. Clear? Any confusion for these list collections?
No.
So if somebody asks you what is list, what will be your answer?
A list is a collection of similar type of objects, similar type of data,
Yes.
stored in a like first come first serve or something like that. Stored in
Yes.
yeah, in a periodic order or something. Yeah.
Okay. So that means let me tell you the technical definition for this. I just explained so for you to understand first. Then I prefer to tell technical definition. If I tell technical definition first, you cannot map what is this. So whenever somebody asks a list, you can simply say a list is an ordered collection of elements. See, order means not in sorted order. The order you collect the elements. So I said ordered collection of elements. Okay, not the sorted order. It is the order the way you collect. Okay, so just combine these two words. A list is an ordered collection of elements. Okay, which can be distinguished by their index. Okay, so
And can
the
also
list
have duplicate values in it.
yes,
Yeah.
may contain duplicate value also. This is the main difference between set and list. May contain duplicate elements. Clear? This is the one part. Okay. And when I say the list, I define list, data type name. So the data type of the list can be primitive type, also can be another collection type. So list can be a list type of data, okay, or it can contain one apex type, nothing but one a subject type or maybe a apex class type. Anything can be. So now I explain example with list of integer, list of string. Same way, if I want to store all the account record in a collection, what I do? List of account. You know the what is account, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I can give name as the account list. So there what we do here, new list of account. So if I want to store a account type of data. The same way, if I have create a class, I'll explain how to create a class, how to write a class. If I have a class name as let's see calculator class, okay, something I have written here inside programmatically, and I want my list should contain all the object of this one. That time what we can do? Same way, a list of my class name, okay, nothing but my apex type, okay, calc list equal to new list of calc. It can be written in this way also. Same way, it can be a list of primitive types, nothing but like list of integer type, correct? What we saw in different examples. Okay, same way when I come here, let's see, I have this integer. I want my element going to be the list of this type. That means what I want, let me clear this diagram first. Okay, this diagram we don't need to save, correct? I'm just clearing it. Okay, so I have one list elements, maybe 2 element or 3 element. I have another list element. I have another list element. Like this, I have few list elements. Let's just drag it some elements. Okay, let's assume some value is there. Okay, I'm not writing any value right now. I want, see, when I say this list, let's consider all our integer type of list. So this list nothing but I declare as list of integer int list 1, correct? Same way, this is I declare as list of integer, sorry, int list 2, correct? That means inside this, I'm going to write one integer value, maybe 1, 6, 9, something, correct? So this is one list, this is one list, same way this is also one list. I want to store another collection of elements which will contain the list elements. So that means I want to have one more list, okay? And in that list, what I want to store? I don't want to store integer. Okay, I want to store this list element completely. This one I want to store. Okay, as one element. This one I want to store as another element. This list want to store another element. Nothing but if I see, these all are going to be one elements. So nothing but can I say this is contains the first index, 0 index or 1 index going to contain one list. This is going to contain one list, correct? Getting my point?
Yes.
Yes. So now how I will declare this? Okay. So for that what happened? So see, when I declare this is what type of element? This is integer type of element. So I mention integer. So this is what type of element? This is contains one list element. Nothing but can I write this list as list of, this is inside data type name, correct? Then this is my list collection name. So in this inside, what type of data I am storing? I am storing another list type, correct? You can see this. Understood this part? What is data type? What collection element I stored? I stored elements which we call as list element. Nothing but this part. Correct. So like this is the one level nested list. And like this, we can make 5 level nested list. Nothing but I want another collection, okay, whose first element going to be the complete this set. Correct. So what that means I'm saying, I can keep one list element in another list. Nothing but this way. I'm just writing. See, I'm just giving space to understand. Then I get int list for the understanding. Okay. So same I new list of, it can be any type. I'm just giving the example with integer for easy understanding. Correct. If I want, this is going to, I can contain another level of list, nested list. So I can do 5 list nested. Instead of this integer, what can be done? It can be another collection of element. Understanding or confusing? And all same method are applicable. So if you want to have another one, so same way we can create another list collections. Instead of this type, it can contain another list. Understanding?
Yeah.
One question, but their data type should be same, right? For all the
Yes.
lists which are
Yes.
okay.
Yes. The all elements should be same. If it is integer means it's all list should be integer type. So like this, it's now 3 levels. So like this, we can go for the 5 level of list collections. Okay. So there will be a task for you. You practice this list collection and see how complex list you can make. All the methods are same, everything is same. So let's see if you can create a list of at least 3 level. Okay. Got all concepts?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So I close the session today. So tomorrow we'll discuss about set and map. Okay. Then we'll go to the database part. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I will. So this time is compatible for you, Asis, correct?
Yeah, this is okay for me. Yeah.
So you stay in which place?
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll meet on the same time. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Thank you, Sri.
Thank you. See
Yep.
you then.
Yeah. If any questions, we can discuss in the next session again. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Bye bye.